Yeah, you can see a lot of the different cell types that are in a follicle here, and they have lots of different uses. They're very diverse. You have things like the dermal papilla and the cells within that we're interested in. You've got bulge stem cells halfway up the follicle shaft that are really important for hair growth. You've got melanocytes in there that are important for hair coloring. So there's quite a lot of different cell types within a follicle, and they've got a broad range of uses and quite an exciting starting point for lots of different regenerative medicines that are under development. So what we're interested in at Hairclone are the dermal papilla cells. And so they're found at the base of the follicle, and they give out these signals to the cells that surround them. So the matrix keratinocytes that then proliferate and form that hair shaft. And so they're giving out all these signaling molecules. And also during the progression of androgenetic alopecia, it's those cells that are actually lost. So the number of those cells decreasing over time is what then results in the thinning hair shaft. And so the more of those cells you have, the thicker your hair. And so what we're proposing is that by taking these cells from healthy follicles, multiplying them up, injecting them back in, we can repopulate those follicles and then thicken the hair back up. So those miniaturizing hairs become thicker again. And so we anticipate that those areas that are actively undergoing miniaturization will be receptive to those cells being injected back in. And then we could hopefully look to reverse those early signs of hair miniaturization and maintain this look of a full head of hair over time. And as I say, more DP cells equals thicker hair. So in addition to this, we've recently gained a UK Innovate grant to look at the factors that the dermal papilla cells are giving off. And so in the lab, they're grown in a medium, and they are giving off all these factors that are really important for the growth of hair. And so we're looking at what is actually in that medium, what they're giving off, and whether we can use that as like a topical stimulant of hair growth or injecting that into the scalp to stimulate hair growth. So that's more of like a stimulant rather than rebuilding the hairs with the cell therapy, but could be very interesting as well. And so, they're giving off growth factors and exosomes and all sorts of goodies that the hairs like to grow. And yeah, we've got a 3-year government grant for looking at that. So in addition to what we're looking at for hair stimulation and regrowth, people are looking at hair-derived cells, hair follicle-derived cells to treat lots of different diseases. So, for example, treating loss of eyesight, repigmenting the skin or hair using melanocytes derived from hair follicles. Also looking at cell injections to treat damaged tendons. So the dermal fibroblasts give off a lot of collagen. And so by injecting those in, they can potentially help repair things like tendons. And even nerve damage. People have been looking at taking stem cells from hair follicles and using them to treat nerve damage. And then something I touched upon last time that I'm not talking about today is like the induced pluripotent stem cells that have kind of all the rage, have been for about 20 years now since they were discovered. They can be used for many things. So dermal papilla cells, they're very stem-like, and they can be converted into induced pluripotent stem cells or IPS cells. And then they can be used and turned into almost any cell type in the body. So, the applications could be huge. So we have lots of public interest in this. Obviously, it's a massive issue, hair loss. And so the media are really keen on it, and the public are really interested in it. And so we've been featured quite a lot recently, most recently in BBC Science Focus, which was a week or 2 ago, and in The Guardian, New Scientist, Tatija, is it? No, that's a champagne. Tatler magazine, The Mirror. This is all in the last 6 months. So we've had quite a lot of media coverage recently, and it's kind of, a bit of a snowball effect. We're getting a lot of interest recently. And so where do you come in? Okay, well, to become a banking affiliate. So what we are looking for is to just get the word out. We believe the technology could really improve a lot of people's lives. We want more people to know about it, more people to be able to access it. There are probably a lot of people out there that don't even know it exists. And we want that word to get out via people who know what they're talking about, and, you know, the correct information to be, you know, put across to those that might be interested. So what's in it for you guys? Well, there's no cost to actually become an affiliate. It kind of marks you as a reputable point of contact because we trust you to be able to talk about our service and what we're offering. And so we want everyone who becomes an affiliate to really know what they're talking about. It shows patients that you're actively seeking new approaches, and people that might be interested in banking follicles might come to talk to you as a you know, reliable source of information, and then that gets them into your clinic, and you might be able to offer them alternative treatments if you don't believe they're suitable, or maybe multiple different approaches. But it's another offering for people. We're initially launching this in the UK, but to be quite honest, anybody in the world can become an expert on this. We can look to have anyone in Canada, for example, as a Hairclone affiliate. You just need to really be marked as someone who we trust to tell people about our product. So the steps involved in becoming an official affiliate, we'd like to give people information to read and also complete a short audit. So we want to make sure you really understand what it is. We don't want people to be going around saying we've got this treatment to grow new hairs, for example. We're not at that point. We are developing a treatment that we believe can reverse miniaturization. That is our aim, rather than brand new follicles, for example. And also we would like affiliates to understand patient selection. So as I mentioned, we're kind of targeting the early miniaturizing follicles, so not slick bald. We don't believe we can grow new hairs necessarily. Our aim is to reverse the earlier signs of thinning. And so patient selection is really important at this point. And I think Bassam and Ian can talk more about this. But I mean, even if someone is progressed in certain areas beyond the point of no return, potentially, they might still have some treatable areas. And then a hair transplant can fill in the gap if it works as we anticipate. So there are still things that we can offer those people, but they might not be our prime candidates. And so, yeah, an understanding of Hairclone's potential treatments as well. We don't want to oversell it. We don't want to be one of those companies that say we've got this cure for hair loss when in reality we haven't got the clinical data yet, but there's some preclinical data and early clinical work that does look really promising. So we are hopeful. So also we'll provide a logo that people can put on the website to mark you as a Hairclone affiliate. And you can see that dotted around here. So on the right-hand side is the version of it. So that will go on the website. And also we provide the wording for the information about follicle banking. So it's in our words, and we can't get you into trouble or get into trouble ourselves for saying things that we shouldn't be saying. And I'll show that at the end, I think, because I've got the wording laid out, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then we'd also have a part of our website that lists everyone, our Hairclone affiliates, those people we trust to talk about our product. And so then that will give traffic towards you guys. So we'll have a list, probably a map, so people can see their local Hairclone affiliate and be able to, you know, talk to someone trusted about our product. And also there's a certificate. Who doesn't love a certificate? Okay, so, oh, that turned weird. But this is our PDF of the patient information. So we give this out. They're meant to look like they do on the right. I don't know what happened on the left. It's gone a bit funny. But this would be something that you could hand out to patients, send out electronically, either way. And it just kind of gives an overview of hair follicle banking, why now, what's involved, the therapies, etc., etc. So it's basically an overview of the talk I gave last time. So if you are interested in getting involved, then you can contact myself directly. We've got banking@hairclone.me as a communal email address for myself, Vern, who's based in the US. And then, or Ian Salis is also a good point of contact. So please do contact us if you're interested to discuss this further. I will just now stop that and show you the website. Here it is. Okay. So this is what we'd give you to put on your website. So this is our wording. At the start, you could put an introduction that can be whatever you want based on your clinic. So I just did an example based on Hair Medic UK. And then we provide details on what is hair follicle banking, what's involved. For this, because we were looking at UK based, it's all pointing to the Farjo Hair Institute for banking. So this would need changing slightly, probably just point to like the generic list of the map, basically with all the banking clinics on it, for people elsewhere if they wanted to get involved. And then what can my hair follicles be used for? Like I say, lots of different regenerative medicines are under development, including hair stimulation and hair rebuilding using dermal papilla cells. Why bank now? It's all about stopping the clock of biological aging. And how much does it cost? So that's specific to the Farjos. And then interested, you could put your information there. So everything in italics is changeable. Everything else is kind of our wording. And it would have to be changed slightly for overseas clinics. I think that's all. I feel like I've missed one thing, but I'll probably remember in a minute. So yes, that's the basics anyway. We just want to disseminate this information to as many people as possible because there'll be a lot of interested parties, and I think it could be a mutually beneficial association, link between clinics and ourselves and yourselves. So it'd be great to hear what you think.
Okay, thanks, Jen. So I'm going to keep the recording going for the Q&A. So if anybody doesn't want their face shown on the Q&As, I would turn your camera off now. Any questions? Jennifer.
So obviously it's probably not going to be feasible for me to send my follicles to Dr. Farjo's office. Can I be the first one? Can I start my own banking clinic here in Canada? What do I need? I'm willing to do it.
The follicles do get sent from around the world to the UK.
They do?
The storage. Yeah. So our follicle bank is in the UK. So people take tissue from wherever the clinic is, package it up, send it to us in the UK where we cryopreserve and bank it. So in terms of becoming an actual banking center, are you able to surgically remove hair follicles?
No, I can't do it surgically, but I have surgeons that I work with.
Yeah, so you send them to the UK and we process them and bank them here.
I think there's a different sign-up process for surgeons, so they would have to go through that. So maybe
I would refer to Vern at this point. So
okay.
It would be a surgeon to Vern situation. We'd have to sign up the clinic, be a banking associate clinic. But yeah, like you could be involved with those. But I think that's a Vern thing. He heads up the clinical network, especially side.
So these have to be removed surgically then.
Yeah, for what we're doing.
Are you going to want them excised?
The follicles need to be extracted whole, just like a transplant. So they need to be in this. They're like grafts, just like what you do in a transplant. So therefore, the ideal person to do that would be somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of hair transplant surgery. We do have banking associates or partners in Canada already who are hair transplant clinics, but
amazing.
But Hairclone, I'm sure Vern will answer, are quite keen to acquire more additional clinical partners depending on their location. But these clinical partners, they have to have training, they need to be affiliated with it. So there's you, the trichologist, who can be affiliated. But if you're
Okay.
using a hair transplant doctor who is not already an affiliate of Hairclone, then we need to prep them and we need to then make them partners or banking associates.
Corinne asks, what type of pathologies do have the best results? I think you can sort of elaborate on that with what other pathologies it doesn't work for, which is an important question.
Yeah, I mean, we're focusing on androgenetic alopecia. So for the cell therapy, that is the only indication we are targeting. For this hair stimulant, I'm not sure whether that would work for other indications, but our focus is androgenetic alopecia only, men and women.
So just to clarify, so when I do my consultations, the type of patient who I'm talking to, who I think would be suitable or should consider banking their follicles, is the exact same patient who you think they are suitable for non-surgical treatment. So anybody who you want to recommend minoxidil, finasteride, PRP, all these rejuvenating type treatments, is a candidate who is a candidate who should be considering banking, because they are in turn will be a candidate who will be suitable for the rejuvenation treatment by injecting dermal papilla cells. So I say to them, right, you should consider medications, you can consider low-level lights, you should consider injectables, and by the way, you're young enough and you still have lots of hair on your head. I think at some point in the future, we're going to be introducing cell-based therapies, and I think you should consider also banking your follicles while you're at it. And this could be for somebody who's only considering non-surgical treatments, but it could be somebody who's going to have a transplant as well, and at the same time as having a transplant, they could put aside 100 hair follicles aside because they're in the theater anyway, and they happen to be suitable for that kind of treatment.
The people that I find are most interested, and I don't know if anybody is finding this as well, I'm getting more and more young men who don't have any signs of genetic hair loss. They've seen their father go bald. They know it's on its way at some point, and they're very anxious about when it's going to happen and how to stop it. And we always go through eventually there may be signs, but there isn't any signs at the moment, and the hairline is eroding a little bit, but that's natural. And this is almost an insurance policy that you can talk to them about and say, there is this thing where you can bank your hair follicles, and for future treatments, which aren't there yet, but there is a high likelihood that there will be, it is a good insurance policy for that point when you are going to be concerned, and in many cases they are quite interested in it. So no, you've got your hand raised.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone. That was really interesting. Thank you, Jennifer. My question is really just to understand the patient journey from my point of view. So I'm a prescribing pharmacist. We do non-surgical, injectables as well as prescriptions. Now, if I had a patient come in, just like Bassam explained, so if we get a surgeon to do the follicle extraction, once they've banked it, what's the time process till we can then reuse those for me to inject into the scalp for that patient?
Yeah, so that depends on us getting a clinic ready product. So at the moment, we've got the technology to grow the cells. We've transferred that technology to a manufacturing facility, but it costs a heck of a lot of money to actually validate that process. And that is the sticking point to getting into the clinic at the moment. So we're kind of really close to clinical application. And at that point, we then need to try different iterations of what works best. And are you based in the UK?
Yeah, I'm based in Southeast Kent.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how much detail to go into at this point, and I don't know on timeframes and things, but at that point, once we're in the clinic, we kind of need to look at different number of cell injections and things like that, kind of get the process refined, and then we can look to offer it as a treatment under UK regulations, but not market it as an actual treatment until we've done clinical trials and things like that. So
I think it's important to also advise that Hairclone isn't the only company that you can use these cells for. These are your cells, and there is many other companies which are developing cell therapy, and these are your cells to use. Is that correct?
Yeah. So yeah, the hairs are owned by the patient, even though they are stored by Hairclone, but they're owned by the patient. So somebody else says, yeah, we can use these cells, the patient can request them. So to produce the treatment, the major issue for Hairclone now is to try and cut the cost down, to try and find the best way, the most efficient way, because otherwise you're going to have to charge the patient just a phenomenal amount of money. That's going to be beyond most people. So the current focus, I think, is trying to not just get the finances, but trying to bring down the potential cost of it, so that if you're providing it, then it can be within reach of at least some people, and not just a fantasy in the air kind of thing. So that's what we're looking at. So the technology is there. It's just a matter of getting the finances down so that we can start treating people, and then you have you have case studies done. But to put in a time frame is very difficult. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes these kind of companies make, is, oh yeah, we'll have a treatment within the, it's you know, I've been doing hair transplants for 30 years, and the cell therapy has always been 5 to 10 years away for the last 30 years. So yeah, but this treatment is focusing on rejuvenation, so the target is much more attainable, and therefore it's much more optimistic that it's not going to be long term, it's going to be short, medium term. So hopefully it's going to be 2 or 3 years rather than 5 to 10 years.
So really the aim is just to get as many patients as to bank them now, so then there's storage, and then whenever you know, everything's all kind of in place for treatment, that's really what we're aiming at.
Yes, bank their follicles while they're young, because the younger the follicles, the better the results. And also when treatments become available, the priority is going to be given to the people who have banked their follicles, and there's already a large number of them. So if anybody wants to get their treatment early, then they bank their follicles, they'll have an advantage. Yeah.
And Patricia, from excision, as put in the chat, from excision to reimplantation, what's the time frame? And you've answered that. And so this isn't ready for consumer. So I think that's just been answered as well.
Well, the treatment isn't, but the banking isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the next steps for anybody who's interested to take it to discussion and, you know, becoming an affiliate?
Yeah, so get in touch with one of those emails at the bottom. We can share those by email.
Yep.
And just start a discussion and see if it's something you want to get involved in, really. If you think it could be beneficial to yourselves and help give your patients another option, then that'd be great.
Okay, so emails to get in touch with, you can all obviously get in touch with the info at ITC, and then I can pass those on. We've got a list of people who signed up for tonight. What we'll do is we'll send the recording and the information to them as well. So if you can send me the PDF and all that information. And then what we'll do is myself, Jennifer, Ven, Bassam, we'll talk about how we get in touch with each person, and we'll probably set up an individual chat just so we can give you the information. You can put that on the website. You've got the logo. We'll go through a little bit of how to talk to the patient about the Hairclone Banking.
And I think if, especially people in the UK, it'd be really useful, because we get inquiries from people all over, and it'd be nice to send them somewhere local to them who knows the information, talk to them, and an opportunity for you, the trichologists. You're going to get these referred patients who you can look after as well. So it kind of can work well for all parties.
I think it's a good referral system. especially if there is going to be a hair clone referral network, and then it's looking on our website as though we're an affiliate. It's a nice tight little referral system either way. So any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. So we'll send you the information. Get in touch if you just want to get on board straight away. And Jennifer, I'll put you in touch with Vern, and we can just go from there.
Brilliant. Thank you
very
everyone.
much. And thanks for your time, Jennifer. That was I really appreciate it.
So Neil, if you need more information, just message me privately, okay?
Thank you very much.